Hello and welcome to today's learning. Today I would like us to see and to learn how we can separate our ERPNext database from the server that has the files. So what I'm talking about here is how can we put our ERPNext database in a different server from where we have hosted the files. Now this is good practice because when you do your architecture that way, you are able to emphasize security on the database server, which makes it better. You can do so by just allowing access to that server only from the IP address that hosts your ERPNext files. So how can we do that? Now, to be able to do this demo today, I have purchased an extra DigitalOcean droplet. Here it is. And here you can see I have two droplets. The first droplet is called Upeosoft Limited. And by the way, Upeosoft is a company that does ERPNext consulting here. So you can go to services and see the services that are offered there. And I am the chief of engineering here. So we have things like ERPNext consultation, customization, training, and also support. And training includes developer training and also end user training. So yes, and also we can do other software development like APIs and all that. So that aside, let's go back here. So Upeosoft is Upeosoft Limited is where I have ERPNext files. We are not going to go into the trouble of installing ERPNext today because we don't have that kind of time. If you want to know how to install ERPNext, I have other videos, so many of them that can help you do that. You can check my personal blog at codewithkarani.com. There's so much resources there. All right. So, and the next thing I have now, this droplet is new, but we are going to rebuild it again just to make sure that it is fresh. I have called it Upeosoft database. So we are going to have ERPNext files here, and we are going to have our database here. So this instance or this droplet or this server is going to be accessing the database from here. All right, perfect. Let's go ahead and first of all rebuild this droplet. So it's loading, and I am going to go to destroy down here just to make sure that this thing is clean. And we are not destroying, we are rebuilding the database. So I mean the server. So rebuild droplet, select the OS that you want to install, and then click on rebuild. Now what this is going to do is it is going to like format the way we just format a computer. It's going to format this thing, and it is going to send me the root password that I can use to log into the droplet, and then I can go ahead and change the root password. All right, perfect. As that does its thing, let me tell you about a script that I am going to be using to do the setup, because we don't want to do these things manually. I have a script here on my GitHub account, and I have put it to be accessible to public. You can see where I'm highlighting there. It's public, it's not private. So the good news is you can download this script and use it however you want to use it. Now, very important, this script is part of a major script that I have. You can see the one that is here. Let me open it on a new tab. Go to codewithkarani.com. You're going to see this script. This script, I'm giving it only for $35, and it will automate everything that you need to do when installing ERPNext. You can look at the video that is down here on the article that gives more information about the script. You just need to run the script, and it will go ahead and set up your machine, install everything that needs to install, including ERPNext. And the only thing you need to do is to log into ERPNext on a browser and complete the setup. So the script that I have on GitHub here is free. This one is will help us install the database today. And the steps that you will see us follow here when installing this database are the same ones you will need to follow when installing ERPNext. How awesome is that? So let's see whether this one completed. Yes, this completed, and I hope they have sent me the password here, and yes, they have. Here's my default password. So why don't we head over to our terminal here. Let me make this one a little bit bigger for the sake of your eyes, and I do root ssh root at, and I need now to copy the IP address of my server, and the IP address of my server is coming up, is this one here. You can see this public IP. So I'll go ahead and paste it here. So I want to log in as root. That may have an issue, don't worry about it. I have seen the command that we need to run here, so it's just ssh keygen and then r, and then you provide the IP address of the machine. Copy. Did I copy? Copy. Paste it here, and it is done. And now we can ssh into the server. Let's see. Yes. And then the password that was provided by DigitalOcean is what we need to log in here with, and then we are going to go ahead, perfect, change the password. So you need the current password, which is the same one, and now the new password, allow me to copy it from somewhere. So copy that password, paste it here, and then I'll need to retype the password, or basically repaste. I'm repasting, so clear that. And here we don't have anything, so let me just go to home. We don't have anything here. So what I need us to do now is to create a file here. I want to make things very easy and very fast. I just want to copy this. Instead of cloning, you go ahead and clone whatever you want to do with this, but I'll copy this code and I'll paste it into my file. So let me actually copy this like that. You see, up to there. The first one up to there, and then I'll copy, and then I'll go here and I'll do a sudo missing the spellings here, sudo touch, and I want to touch a file called, you can call it whatever, but it has to have an extension of .sh. Okay, .sh, install .sh, and you can see I have the file here now, so I can do a sudo nano and install .sh, and then I'll just paste the code that I copied from GitHub. You can see this is what I have. All right, that is from GitHub. Control O, enter, Control O, X. I have that one there. If you list, you can see now I have this install.sh. It has our code. The next thing that we need to do here is to make this file executable. So we can do that by sudo change mode to +x, and then we provide the name of our file here. And now when you check this file, you can see it is now green, meaning it is executable. And then just execute the file. So install.sh and run it. Provide MySQL root password. Let me copy the password again from somewhere. I'll copy password and then I'll paste it. Go. And just like that, we are done. That is all we need to do to set up MariaDB, and it will now go ahead and install everything that we need for MariaDB to work with ERPNext on that server. The steps that you saw us follow in installing this, that is maybe create a file and then paste the code inside and make the file executable and run the file, are the same exact ones you need to do when you are installing ERPNext with this script. You see this script here, the same ones, and ERPNext is installed. So I hope that is going to be of great use to the community out there. So let's give that time to finish. As it finishes, I can tell you about Upelsoft. Upelsoft is, you can see here the script is written by Karani. I am the Karani, so here's the script written by Karani. I'm the chief of engineering at Upelsoft, and Upelsoft basically does ERPNext consulting. It's purely ERPNext, but we also build APIs. You can see in services we also have software development. These are majorly APIs that we need to talk to ERPNext. So if you have maybe something like you need to communicate to ERPNext in some way with an API, we can help you with that. Any kind of ERPNext stuff, like let me just go to services here, allow me to do that. This may help you someday. So if anything like consultation, you need to consult anything, you can call us. Customization, we have done tons of customizations. Training, now training, here we have two types of trainings. We can train for business and we can also train developers. So whichever kind of training you need around ERPNext, we provide that. And also support. Very important. If you have ERPNext project and you need us to provide you support, we are gladly going to do that. So nice. Yeah, we are going to say yes. That one, you can go ahead with that. And yes, that is what PairSoft does. I don't know what else can I tell you here before we as we are waiting for this to finish. Well, let's just wait for it to finish. So we are at 98%. I'll give it time, 99, and it's almost finishing now. Installing ERPNext and also MariaDB. You can see all those processes are automated. You don't need to trouble yourself with anything at all. Let me get some YouTube music here so that we don't get bored as we are waiting. Aha, YouTube music. Let me see which music I can play here. You can have this. Oh, this thing finished. Does not want us to listen to any music. Well, we can go ahead. Now we have our database. You can prove that by, let me first of all clear this, and then I'll do MariaDB. It's important that not MariaDB but MySQL. MySQL user is root and the password. I want to provide the password that I provided. You can see it's already telling us enter password, meaning we have MariaDB installed there in MySQL. So let me provide the password that I gave and see whether I will be accepted in. Yeah, perfect. So you can see here I am inside now. If I do show show databases, you see we have only 3 databases here: information schema, MySQL, and performance schema. When we install ERPNext, or when we create a new site from the server that has ERPNext, we are expecting to see a new database created here, and that's how we will know that our ERPNext instance is using this server actually. So let me just exit here so that I can rush this tutorial. Our time is moving quickly. Now, there are a number of things that we need to do here so that we can be able to connect here from the other server. So the first thing that we will need to do is to change the bind address into that is in MariaDB configuration file. All right. So the bind address, let me just go to that file. Let me clear this. If I cd into, or I can just go ahead and do sudo nano, and I'll do etc. This thing is at etc MySQL, I think, and then we have mariadb.conf. Yes, and then this file is called 50 server. Is it a capital S or a small s? I think it's a small s. Let's try server. Perfect. So this is the file. So we need to change something here. You see this bind address here where I have highlighted. This bind address is binding it to localhost currently. We need to change this to accept outside connections. This is the first thing. So how we do that? You can either decide to comment this line out, but I like to put zeros here. So 0 there, and also another 0 here. So it's 0 0 0 0. Bind address change to that. That's the first step. So I will just control an O, and then I'll enter, and then I'll control an X. So I have saved that file. And then after I have done that, you need to do a sudo service MySQL restart. This just restarts your MySQL instance or your MySQL server. That is done. So after you have done that, the next thing is to create a user that will be used to connect from the other side, and this is going to be a user with the name root. All right. So let me just go ahead and do MySQL uroot password. I don't know whether I replaced the password. Let me try. Yeah, I have it. So I'm going to create a user here. All right, so let me first of all show databases again. You can see we have our three databases there. So to create a user here, we need to run the command create user, and then we need to provide the user here is root. All right, and then we need to provide something else. Let me just enter another code there, and then this is quoted. You see, that is root. And then here we need to provide the IP address, because we want this user to only access from a specific IP address, and this other IP address is going to be the IP address of our other droplet instance, which is this one. All right, this IP here. So I'll copy this IP address and I'll bring it here and I'll paste it. So create user root at the IP address where you want the user to be able to access your database from. You see that? And then after we have done that, the next thing that we need to provide there, outside here, we need to jump outside. Let me see, how many quotes did we have there? Root is ending there, and then we have that. That's fine. And then the next thing that we will need, let me see, the next thing that we will need is outside here. So outside here, we are going to tell this thing that identified by, this one is identified by, and the password that you want to use for this user. All right, so what password do you want to use for this user? I'm going to provide another password here. Let me just say something like my password, something. You can just do something, whatever you want to put here. So that is the password that I want to use, and then I'm going to close this SQL. I have an SQL syntax error. Let me check near password. Okay, let me see, what did I do there? That's okay. The user is created. The next thing that we are going to need to do now is to provide all the rights to this user. So this is going to be grant. I can copy this from my code here and explain it to you. So the password that we are going to use here is this one. So let me copy this and paste it here. Grant all privileges on this to this is all to this one. These steps are also going, I'm going to provide them on the description, also on my blog post. So this is the root user we created and identified by, and then we are going to have this one here. All right, we're going to have this, the password that we created. All right, the password that we used when we were creating this user is the password that we need to provide here. All right, that's clear, I hope so. And then we are going to enter. That shows success, 0 rows. The query is okay. And then the next thing is simply to flash the privileges. This is going to make sure that what we have done is being applied. Privileges, yes. So that's also okay. Nice, perfect. And then all we need to do here now is to exit, and when you go back here, it's good practice to make sure that you restart your MySQL. All right, perfect. When that is done, I want to split this window now. Remember, this is our database server, and here I want us to log into the other server. Let me make this a little bit larger, not as large as this one. And then I'm going to SSH into being root at the IP address of this one is this one. So I want to copy this, put it here, and the password to that, let me see what the password is. All right, I copy the password and bring it here. Perfect, we are logged in. cd, or let me first of all sudo su frappe. You can see here I have frappe. I wanted to do ls cd to Frappe bench. All right, cd. Here we have our ERPNext. So let me clear this. Now, cd to sites, first of all, listed. So here I want to delete this site because I want to recreate it afresh. So sudo remove recursive force ERPNext. So I want to completely remove that folder there, just the folder. I don't care about so much other things. I just wanted to allow us to create another folder here and install ERPNext here. So let me clear this first of all. Can we connect to this server from here? So how do we do that? MySQL, we are supposed to provide a number of things here. MySQL, the user is going to be root, and then here we are also going to provide the password. We can also first of all provide the host. The host is going to be this IP address. All right, so the IP address is this one. So let's copy the IP address. Host is that, and then the password is going to be something else. Now here you go, it's asking us for a password. Let's see, provide and see whether it will accept us in. Copy and paste. Yes, we are connected. So this server has been allowed to access this server. Nice. So if we do show databases here, what are we going to see? You can see these databases are exactly what we have here. I'll prove that to you. Let me go here and do MySQL user and password, and then I'll provide the password here. You can see if I do show databases here, we have, what did I write? Databases. We have these three databases here. Now how about if I exit and I log in here without providing this? So I log into the local database here so that you can see that these are totally different servers. Let me think the password is the same. Yes, let me do the same show databases. You can see what I have in my local. This is what is in local database. This local database, I mean the database that is on this server has these databases. This is what MySQL has here. There is this, there is this, there is this. Those are not available here, and they are also not available here. So we have been allowed access into the remote server. So exit that, and then I'm going to go ahead and clear this. And now what we are going to do is go ahead and create our ERPNext instance. Nothing stops us from doing that. So let me see this. We want to see our database created here. All right, so let me go ahead and do a bench new. And by the way, before you do that, there is another command that you need to run here. So let me go ahead and run the command. What am I doing? Let me go ahead and run that command here. So this command that you need to run here is supposed to tell ERPNext that the instance that you want to use is not actually on this server, but it's on a different server. And the command is bench, and is set MariaDB hyphen host. All right, so it's bench set MariaDB host. Look at what I have written, and then you need to provide the IP address of this server there. So let's go back to this one and copy the IP address here and paste it here. So bench set MariaDB host to that, and that's going to go ahead and do that. When you do that, you are almost done. The next thing that you need to do is just to do a bench new site. Bench new site. And today I'm not so great in typing here. So bench new site. And then we're going to provide the name of our site, which I can do as erp.upeosoft.com. And then I also would like to provide my MariaDB root password here. Let me make this one larger so that we don't go very far away. So we have bench new site, erp.upeosoft.com, MariaDB root password, and then provide the password. Let me just copy the password here. I don't want to get it wrong. Copy and paste it here. All right, so this is the password. So bench new site erp.tupeosoft.com, that's okay. MariaDB root password is this one. So when we run that command, if it is successful, we are hopeful that here we are going to see a new database created here. So why don't we go ahead and try that? If it's successful, we are going to see installing Frappe. So it's now connecting and installing Frappe, and that one is now installing that Frappe into our server here. So if we go back here and show databases, you can see a database has been added. This one has been added from here. So it's the database that ERPNext is going to install on this server. So that's it. I want to end that tutorial there. You're going to wait until when this finishes, and then you go ahead and install ERPNext, and you are done. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next tutorial.